Good morning, John.
Good morning, Joe.
Hey, good morning, Evo. Good morning, everyone. Evo, did you download Truth Social yesterday, like like you said you might?
Sure did.
Yeah,
There it is right there.
yeah, awesome. You know what? It was incredible. I was just sitting. I was actually talking to my wife about the deadline and everything, and I told her, I said, "Oh, I downloaded Truth Social a few days ago," and maybe 5 minutes later, I got an alert on my watch. I set it up so that when Donald Trump posts something, and came downstairs and came to my office, and I was mainly looking at oil, and this is what happened. Right, so oil just came down. I went onto a smaller time frame here on the 1 minute, and right around in here when it started making new lows after that 1 minute, I tried to get in on Top Step, and Top Step wouldn't allow it because of the news event. But anyway, I'll let it go. But that's why I downloaded it, was just, to get information as quickly as possible. I don't usually trade news events, but anyway, I'll get back to this a little bit later.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Did you take anything on it?
No. I just trade during market hours.
Yeah.
I don't mess with after hours pre-market. But yeah, I downloaded because it is the driver of the market right now.
It is. It's
So
absolutely.
best to stay informed. It could help your trading edge.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. I usually do not trade after hours or pre-market, but that is going to change with futures. It's part of the reason I'm getting into futures, is just not to have to be locked to my screen between 9:30 and 10:30 in the morning, because that's where things usually happen. But the moves that happen later on in the day, and how they're way more consistent later on in the day, like this oil trade yesterday. I took this trade, and I'll talk about it a little bit later. But anyway, let's look at what the markets look like for today, Wednesday, April 8th. I think by now everybody knows that stocks are soaring because of an agreement that came in around 6 p.m. Eastern yesterday, and hopefully it holds. U.S., Israel, Iran are supposedly agreeing to a 2-week ceasefire. Oil is falling. Everything else is climbing. The Federal Reserve, their minutes are coming out today. This used to be a massive market mover. It hasn't been as of the last few meetings, but good to know that they're coming out at 2 p.m. And then Delta stocks are up 11% pre-market, and the other one that had earnings was Levi. The economic calendar, like I said, at 2 p.m., we've got the FOMC minutes. And then 10:30 crude oil inventories might have an impact on CL or MCL if you trade the oil futures. Other than that, earnings, again, like I've mentioned before, not much happening in the early earnings, early April. We're going to get the banks, I believe, by the end of the week. And then starting next week, we're going to start seeing some bigger names. As I've mentioned, I will be discontinuing my use of DOS. The only thing I'm going to miss in DOS is being able to look at a bunch of tickers on one screen here. I know you can do that in TradingView, and I'll be working on my setup this weekend. Actually, I'll try. I'm away all weekend. I'm not there on Friday, by the way. I'll put something in the Discord Friday morning or Thursday afternoon, just to say that I'm not going to be there Friday morning. And but yeah, this is something I'm going to miss. If anybody has a suggestion for a layout, I love being able to look at my 10 tickers, but then moving away to futures, I'll be looking at a few of these tickers, but mainly looking at futures. So I'll have to figure out how I'm going to set that up moving forward. As far as higher time frame analysis, everything is going to be in a higher zone right now because of that news. Yesterday, Apple dropped down and then found a bottom right around prior support area. Right. If I were to take this, actually, I'll just draw this. That's why higher time frame works. Right. We look at where was support before. Right, it was here, and yesterday, after this massive drop, that's where support was again. That's where buyers started stepping in, and did they ever? Right, moved up, then a bit of a pullback here, and then new highs again, and then on the news after hours yesterday, and even in the pre-market right now, it's just chopping around in this area. So for pretty much every ticker, it's going to be similar. I am going to be looking at above price, because below price, there's no room to the left. The market was just there. Now, it could be an area for a pullback for the continuation up. I wouldn't be surprised to see Apple and different things pull back to the area where we left a lot of buyers. We left them because this move happened at 1800 yesterday, 1800, 1900. So after hours yesterday, right before the market closed at 8 p.m. Last night. So that pushed price up. Zoom into this. And let's just do it on Apple. So we pushed price up after hours, but on very low volume, meaning there's a lot of money sitting right at this level here. There's a lot of buyers that were missed. Even these long buyers here, they didn't get into the entire position that they wanted to get into. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback. Maybe it doesn't happen right now. Maybe it doesn't happen today. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback in this area. So if I were to buy, I'd like to see a bit of a pullback, maybe into this liquidity zone here. And then if it breaches the highs, then I'm going to be looking at the possibility of a short, a rejection of this area, or a rejection of this area from Monday. Or in this area, this is where I'm going to be looking at it. When I always say I'm looking at it from this perspective, not necessarily for long or short. I just want to see how it reacts to these levels. So that's what I'm looking at for Apple. It's been chopping around this area. It might break out, retest, and move higher. But this is what I want to see, is what does it do at these levels? If it were to put in a quick rejection of this, I wouldn't mind taking a short back down to where I said we left a lot of buyers down here. So that's what I'll be looking at in the first little while. Again, I wanted to mention that that this is all stuff the way that I trade. This big move right here does not mean that institutional buyers were involved. So that we could absolutely pull back and pull back hard because this was a big move on low volume. But if FOMO gets in, if people actually believe that this conflict is over and we start making new highs, we could absolutely see a lot of movement and continuation to the upside. Personally, I am going to be waiting to see what the market does, especially in the first half hour. I want to see what are the big players doing, where's volume coming in, so I will likely not take a trade in the first half hour. Same thing basically everywhere. right? Everything is extended. Let's look at the Camarilla levels. They have been readjusted because of this after hours move. If it wasn't for the after hours move, the Camarilla levels would absolutely be within the range that we were in yesterday. But everybody knows we're waiting for news on, the big ultimatum. So that's why these CAN levels are where they are right now. So I don't really need to do the higher time frame analysis on everything, because everything is doing the same thing. Everything popped up on low volume, right? Let's look at volume. Right, this is during the day normal volume, and then this massive move was on very minimal volume. So I don't trust that this move necessarily for a continuation up. I'd like to see it pull back and then really start buying with volume. So the big players are stepping in. I left INTC here just because I wanted to show, we were talking about it yesterday. This was a big move on news. I started the fibs from that big move, and I brought it up to where it started reversing yesterday. And then it did reverse. It came right back into that golden zone. If you zoom in to this area, it is one of the things that I had on what worked and what didn't work. Actually, that's a little bit big. There we go. So start the fib where the impulse buying started, and then this is where it made a top and started reversing. Look at how it started buying again once we got into this 50% fib zone, and then on a bullish 2-minute candle. That's how I like looking at the 2-minute for entry, 2-minute, 1 minute, depending on the product. So bullish 2-minute here, enter on the break of the high of that bullish candle, stop below the wick here, aim for 3R. 3R was reached right over here at 1242. So this strategy, I've started using it a lot more, especially from the Amal webinar, but also because I found that my strategies for longs, the break and retest, this is basically a break and retest. Right? It's just it broke out here and it came and retested here. But with my strategy with the break and retest or the kangaroo tails, I was missing some of the moves, and adding this into the arsenal has really helped. So that was the INTC that we were talking about yesterday. Whoops. So that's what this gave. I wanted to look at this. So I was talking about the INTC golden zone long. I'll be talking about 2 trades that I took yesterday. I took a golden zone short for plus 3.5 R on MNQ, and then I took a short on oil in the afternoon. But I'll explain why I got out of this move for only 1 hour. It made it to 3R and more, but I got spooked, and I'll explain why in a few minutes. As far as higher time frame analysis on everything else, it's basically the same story. 1 minute or 30 seconds until the open for those of you who trade the open. So the only thing I'm looking at is above price right now. If it were to pull back, I'd like it to pull back into probably a golden zone. Let's do it on Qs. So the impulse move started here. Right now, we don't really know where the top is, but for now, that's the high of the day. If it were to move up a little bit, I would only be looking at going long if it pulls back into this area. And I would be possibly looking at shorts if it puts in a strong rejection above where price is right now. So market is open. I'm going to start looking at the 5-minute time frame. Everything is green and heavily green. American Airlines is probably a sympathy play on Delta being up. And my watch is going off. I'm sure we're hitting highs on MU up 10%, SPXL up 7.7, Google up 5.
CCL also a sympathy play, Carnival Cruise, probably Norwegian too, but I'm just watching CCL.
CCL. Right, but that's it. Holy, watch is really going. TQQQ, American Airlines.
Tesla's tanking.
Oxy. Tesla's having Tesla moved up yesterday, but what was it that did not move up much? I think it was Apple at the 6 p.m. move. Yeah, it didn't move much compared to everything else. So yeah, Tesla having trouble finding buyers up here. Let's look at Tesla on TradingView. Tesla over here. Alert on Lunar. That's an alert I've got for a higher time frame play that I'm looking at. Anybody shorting Tesla at the open? Wow, it's quite the move. So Tesla, if we were to put the so this was the beginning of the move here. It doesn't really matter whether I do it here or here. This was the top here. It just blew past the 50. Right? So are we coming all the way down here to find the buyers that were missed? This is PDC right here. Previous day close around the 349 area. Right? After that massive move, I would be expecting it to come down to the S4 area. MNQ, the one I was really looking at was I had a level on oil over here. MNQ, I wanted to talk about a strategy, a new strategy that I've used in the past, especially for earnings. But I'll come back to this. I have to take off my watch. Airbnb up 5%, ELF up 8.65, Amazon up 5%, BA up 5, Goog up 4.9. But will it be sustained? Right, that's
Been some profit taken on the spine.
There's definitely going to be profit taking. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing, Evil. You're right. It's very hard to go long, especially the people that went in around 6 p.m. Right, look at this liquidity grab on the news. This was the news here. So you know what? You're going long. It's like, oh, everything's great. But then SPY gives you this wick here. Just takes out everybody and then continues. So it's very, very hard to trade news events. The only reason I was looking at getting in short on CL was because CL was extended already. And this above 100, 116, it's very, very extended. So I was looking at going short over here, and I would have held, especially on my personal account, I would have shorted. I would probably be short from the top over here, really just maybe one contract, maybe two contracts, because this thing, if it gets resolved, we're likely going to go back to where it was when it was doing nothing for months over here. Whoa, that's did I go to the daily? Yeah. All right, we're probably going to make it back to this area here. right? This was before, right where the conflict started. Let me get back to the 30-minute here. I'll share the actual trade that I took yesterday afternoon on CL. I'm not planning on trading in the first little while, so I'll look at actually, I wouldn't mind seeing if anything printed a rejection KT, like Amazon right here. Amazon up 3.7%. Higher level possible support over here. This is not the KT that I like, but just because the body is pretty big, it's in the first 5 minutes, but this could be a short signal on Amazon. I prefer it when it closes near the bottom. Meta back here. Indecision on Meta. Difficult to read on here. Right, similar candle on Google. I prefer the wick to be a liquidity. When you see a wick like this, it is very often a liquidity sweep. Right, we're trapping longs, and we have a lot of people that their stops are, they're shorting. Their stops are right above here. Right, or there's a lot of limit orders trying to go long. Right, so we're filling a lot of orders in this area, and if it is people going long, then they're going to be trapped. Right, their stops are down here now, which means that if we fill them, we could really see a dump in Amazon. Like I said, I'm most likely going to wait till 10 a.m. before even looking at anything seriously. So let's get back to what I took yesterday in oil. This is the trade that I took, but I did not get the 3R, and I'll explain why. Let's go to the 5-minute time frame. So this, I'll reprint what it is I was looking at. Actually, I'll replay it that way. That was the impulse move there. I'll replay it and go around here. Okay. So at this point, we had slowly creeping up, moving higher here. Not quite sure where the pivots were. The cam, there you go. So this is what I had on my screen. I am going to take them off again just to minimize the amount of information that's on there. So I put this as an impulse move down, right? We really started to sell in this area. This is very, it's on a tighter time frame, right? This is on a 5-minute time frame. And then we put in this wick and started buying. So this was the fib levels that I put on yesterday. So from here to here, I wanted to see, do we come back into the 50%, 50 to 61.8 zone? I've put it in gold because we do call it the golden zone. The 50 is not really a fib level. It's just something that's added by traders just because it's a very, very popular range, 50% of the move. It went to the 50 and then just dropped. And so I didn't even look at it there. But I was waiting, and I put an alert just if it breached this high here, I wanted to be alerted, and it did. So it took a little while. Right there, that's where it breached it and went into the zone. I went into a 2-minute. And on the 2-minute, you can see that it put in this somewhat bearish candle. Let's zoom in a little bit more again, right here. But then it put in this red candle. It tried to go back up again, and then rejected. So on the break here is where I entered with my stop above the wick. And I did this on the top step combine. What happened was, on entry, it made it down very, very quickly. Yeah, this candle right here. So on entry, it made it all the way down here very, very quickly, but then it popped right back up. Which candle is it? Maybe it was just this second candle here. So anyway, just to say that once it popped right back up, I exited my trade because it made it to 2R very, like within seconds, and then came back to my entry, and then gave me another a 1R again. So I should have just put the trade on. I should have put my -1 +3. It was on the account where I aim for +3. There's one account that I aim for 1. And I took it off at +1R. 1.5, I think. But had I been patient and had I not been looking at it, it ended up making it down there, making it to the 3R. The strategy works most of the time. So more than 50% of the time. I think Amal was saying with his back testing, I think it was just on MNQ, it worked a higher percentage of time. I don't want to put words in his mouth. I don't remember exactly what he said. But that was the trade that I took yesterday. I took it off at 1 or 1.5, probably right around here. Once it hit the bottom here and then started retracing, I said, you know what, it's too volatile right now, so I got out. The other trade that I took was on MNQ. Actually, let me go back and get out of replay. And bring it back to, I like looking at the 15 on here. And
looks like the SPY and the Qs they're trying to form a doji, maybe a hammer or a doji on the 5-minute chart. We'll see. Still got another few minutes here.
Yeah,
we're starting to print green. Now we're losing it, but
yeah, I would love to get an entry. I don't like predicting. I wouldn't be surprised if this came back down to before to get the buyers from where we popped out. So
yeah,
personally, I don't like the long yet. I'd like to see it come down, and it's not giving me an entry for the short. If it did started popping up and made it above pre-market high here and put a wick, then I would absolutely try to capture part of the move getting back down into this area. But again, it's who knows. I'm going to see what the chart gives us in the first half hour. But yeah, there's very it's high R vol, but very small moves right now. You know, and market psychology is that we don't know which direction it's going to go in.
Maybe that's good. Maybe that's just sort of like gentle profit taking, and it's not like people rushing for the exits. You know, I see on the SPY, I have a DeMark sequence indicator, and I look on the 15-minute chart. We're currently position 6 out of 9. So unless that breaks, we could be looking at another maybe 45 minutes of kind of selling pressure.
Yeah.
We'll see. That's just a guess. But I could see other, you know, like INTC looks strong. That's moving counter to the market. And CCL is kind of hanging in there above the fib levels. We'll see. But those two are the only ones that on my chart are kind of moving counter to what the market's doing.
Yeah.
INTC very strong. They had that news catalyst, so I'm definitely going to be looking at that one today.
What's the delta again?
DAL.
DAL.
And
thank you.
Yeah, that's kind of selling off.
Yeah. Well, that was
Same
a big
with
move from
AAL.
earnings, right? Earnings this morning, big move up. We missed again. Whenever earnings are pre-market or they're usually, not usually, they're almost always is a pre-market or aftermarket close. The move needs to be accepted by the bigger players, right? So if the bigger players are not getting in to buy above 75 here, then the market maker or the algos need to go find buyers, and the buyers are likely where we took off, right? So when you see this pullback, I mean, we might find buyers before getting there, but if we are not making new highs, then the chances are we are going to go get some buyers where it took off, right? Where it was before earnings. So that's interesting there. What was the other one? Levi. Is Levi the ticker? Yeah, LEVI. I have never traded Levi's.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, but nice move, right? 1950 to 2275. Wow, even Ford is moving. Ford is, I traded Ford when I first started trading, and it stayed between $11 and $12, I think, for the last 5 years. It does not move much. All right, there's Ford. Right, even 14 to 11. And yes, it is a lower price stock. So I mean, this, as far as relatively speaking, it's still moving 5% from here to here. It's only $1 move, but it's considered a high percentage anyway. Okay, let's get back to my trade on MNQ.
A little bit of a bounce here.
On what?
Yeah, again, a little bit of a bounce
Yeah.
on SPY and Qs. So
Yeah.
let's see.
Yeah, I am going to set an alert above pre-market high on SPY NQs. Tesla seems like it might have found some buyers, or if this is the breakdown, we might be retesting for the further move down. Right, that's the pattern. But this is where we paused yesterday, right after the Trump post. Right, this is where we paused. This is where we're pausing again. Yeah, we'll see what happens. See what happens with this move right over here. I mean, two things. The reason I put an alert here at 678 is the possibility of a breakout. And if it does break out, I will not take it. I will wait for the retest. Or we punch up above here and reject. And if we do reject, if it gives me my signal, then I will go short here. But I am wanting to, I want to give it a half hour. SPY, more sellers here than we have buyers. Right? If you see here on the book. So I'll come back to it in a minute. I did not read the chat. Let's trade well today. Good morning to everyone. Longer dated oil contracts look appealing. Most oil stocks gap down, but are trading up from the open. Yes, I got where's Oxy? Oxy over here, down 8%. Oxy. So when oil falls, these fall as well, but they seem to have found some support at this level here. We'll see what happens. See what happens with oil. Put this back. And bias for the day is balance. Not expecting any new price discovery after our overnight run. Sprint, then retest is the thought. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Shane. I've shared what I'm thinking, and I really want to see what happens at 610 and 678. I want to see what do we do at these levels here, and I want to see this market participation stay high. Right now, it's quite the move on what has been a pretty bearish market lately. Which is why, part of the reason why I shorted MNQ yesterday. Where's my trade? Actually, that's not what I want to do. This was the trade here. So the move here, let me put this back. There we go. And are there two there? No. Okay, so we started selling. This wick here showed that once the market opened, we tried to make it up above this level here. And that was the beginning of the impulse move down. Made it down to this level here, and it came back and touched the 50, but didn't get into the 50. I think that, you know what, was that it? Yeah, that must have been it. Over here. It wasn't at 10:30. I didn't take a screenshot of it either. But it was a 3-hour, you know what? And it wasn't at 9:40 either. So that's not right. I'll have to look at my notes. I know I journaled it, but I didn't take a screenshot of it. Sorry about that. It was a short, and it was around this area here. And this was the beginning of the impulse move. Yeah, it was around this area. I think it was around just after 10:30. Oh, actually, I put something in the chat. Oh, it doesn't keep the chat. It was while Avi was on. But anyway, it was around this area here after 10:30. I remember now because I did share something in the chat. And I did put something in, or did I put a trade screenshot? I did. There you go. That was a screenshot I took. So I did take a screenshot. There you go. So that was the impulse move. That was the low. It came back and tested it and then tested it again. This is on a 2-minute chart. This was the entry right here. Right. So starting from the impulse move, we started buying over here, long wick down. It went into the golden zone, did not close above. If I have a candle that closes above the 61.8, I will remove this zone altogether and stop looking at it. But it went up into the zone, then came down, and then this what I call a trend, well, I call it because it's from Naked Trading, Naked Forex. This 2-minute long tail wick over here. I put in an entry on the break of this. I put my stop at the 50, and then the move happened fairly quickly, and this was 3.5R over here. So that was a trade. That was on the top step combine as well. I've only taken a few trades on the combine. Haven't trusted much. I have been very hesitant. I am more hesitant on it because there's less room for mistakes. But that was the trade I want to share. Good. I'm glad I did take the screenshot. And then I was talking to someone yesterday. I was talking to one of my students about how it's very difficult to take these trades on MNQ and MES. But what is possible is a break and retest. right? So that's the break from the news. It came down, and now we're starting to make new highs again. I did not take this trade, full disclosure, but the break and retest, and this is like a 6-hour trade. But if you're looking at a 3-hour trade, it got to 3 off fairly quickly. So that is a possibility for trading news events or earnings. This works well with earnings as well. So we're just chopping around this area right now. Same thing with Tesla in this area here. If Tesla breaks down below here, right, below 354, it could be a continuation lower, unless we find a lot of buyers. Yep, everything's just these tiny little candles. Whenever you see something like that, that's just indecision. We do not know who's in charge right now. We don't know if the buyers or the sellers are in charge. I am going to put the SPY puts on my screen, because if they break down below the low, we could see a big move in the options. I'm looking at the 675 puts. Actually, I think I'll look out of the money at 674. I don't know.
Kind of interesting, Gilles, that besides INTC that's moving counter to the market, also MOS, Mosaic, which is a fertilizer company that's been impacted with the overseas events, looking pretty strong. I've never traded that ticker before. It's an NASI ticker, but
are they is it a US company, or is it, I mean, as far as fertilizers, I know Canadian companies, US companies are doing well because they're not affected by the fact that the Strait of Hormuz is basically closed. And I know a lot of fertilizer comes from the Middle East. But if it's doing well, is it because it's being affected? You know, I'm curious.
yeah, I don't know. They've got operations in Brazil, so they're definitely an international company, but I don't know if they're situated here in the U.S.
Do you mind me asking, where do you get, like, what made you go look at MOS?
I had it on my secondary list. It was mentioned maybe a few weeks ago somewhere, and I just kept it there. So I was just kind of going
mentioned. Just on social media, or is there an actual? Is there an information?
It could have been the Bearable Traders. Their pre-market morning show one day, because sometimes I'll tune in and check that out. That could have been where I picked it up, and maybe StockTwits too. I'm not sure, but. I always find it of interest when, you know, the market's moving in one direction, but you've got maybe 1 or 2 or 3 tickers that are moving counter to that. So I keep my eyes on it. But yeah, I still think we got some time to sell off here before things flip around. But it doesn't seem like like it seems to me just kind of just sort of a gradual sell-off. I'm not seeing again people freaking out. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't see anybody freaking out yet. But it could take off in one or the other direction.
One tweet.
Yeah. Well, either that or one move, right? If we lose 674 here on SPY, I would not necessarily be taking it. But if it dropped and tanked and then came and retested, then I would absolutely take it short. because if it drops here, anybody that got long here is going to panic and say, you know what, I'm taking my profit. And then we have a lot of selling. Same thing on Qs.
It hit 670 on the SPY, kind of a pre-market area of interest. That would be the next leg down potentially, 670-ish.
Yeah. Like I said, I've got the 674 puts on my screen here. I'm just doing a calculation. Entry. Yeah, if I were to do anything with SPY here, it would be with SPY options, put options. Maybe one of the last ones before I lose access to DAS. I think my renewal is on Friday, and I won't be trading Friday. So today and tomorrow, for now, I don't know. I won't say that I'll never get back to it, but for now, it's not useful. I do mostly everything in TradingView now. Their charting is so much better. But there's advantages to DOS as well, as far as some of the hotkeys. Level 2 is definitely among the best, but I've been using it less and less. So 10 a.m. is printed, still going sideways. Still going sideways on Qs. I would be careful, anybody thinking about shorting at 674, because we could absolutely have a wick come down and trap some sellers and then take off higher. Right? So that's why if there's a quick move, I'm not doing anything until I see that it's not a fake out. That long tail wick on Amazon at the open here, difficult to trade because of the long wick, but you can tell that it was a liquidity sweep. It went and trapped a lot of buyers over here and just making new lows. But this blue line here is a level of support. It was pre-market low. Sorry, it was what was it? Yeah, considered at a pre-market low. Pre-market on DOS is 4 a.m. So that was pre-market low, pre-market high, pretty tight range. Very difficult to trade something like this. I don't know if anybody's in anything, but on this screen right now, it's very shallow moves. What's Qs? What's the low on Qs? 605.41.
From what I'm looking at, either it's very directional and there hasn't been a nice pullback for me to get an entry, or if it's there's just no entries for me. There's no I'm not seeing the wave action that I'd like to see for some kind of pullback for an entry. It's either directional, like going short on Palantir via PLTZ. It's just straight up like crazy. There's nowhere for me to jump in. Or like CCL, it popped and it's still holding the fib levels, but it's just a little choppy right now. So just sit. INTC, same thing. Just for me, like 1 5-minute pullback candle's not enough. I need like 2 or 3. Because then I still feel like I'm buying at premium levels if it's just one pullback candle. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's just, it might be one of those days that that I'm not the only one that's being, and you being cautious, right? Being patient. Let's see. Avi says it all the time. You have to know who's in control, and right now there's no way of telling who's in control. Right, the selling in Amazon is the only one that I'm seeing as the sellers seem to be in control. But I just put an alert here. If it came back, because this was a big selling candle, but if it came back to this level around the 222.50 area, that's where I'd start looking at it for a possible continuation down. Right, so that would be a rejection, a retest, 50% area for the move down. But I would have to see some signals there, and it's finding support. This blue line is here for a reason. Pre-market low is there for a reason. So these lines are often respected. Google making new lows, but not flushing. Nvidia making new lows. 181.75, right around here.
Such a big news event yesterday, and then I saw the futures just skyrocket, and I think maybe just the market needs time to figure stuff out. So it's probably, I think for me, a good time to just kind of watch maybe today and even tomorrow, just to see how the market wants to digest this.
Yeah. Just for the fun of it, look at the wicks on this was a reopening of the futures market at 6 p.m. This was the tweet right here, or whatever you call it, the truth. I don't know what Truth Social calls their posts. I think that's what they call it, a truth. Yeah, when you repost, they call it a retruth. Sorry, my French accent comes out with those words. I have trouble with them. But look at these wicks. I mean, these are impossible wicks to trade. 24,361, 24,750, almost 200 points.
Wow.
In a wick, right? So that's why it's very, very difficult to trade these news events. But this is on a 2-minute. Once it started calming down and you start seeing some shapes, right? Some smaller candles, then the break and the retest could have worked. Again, I did not take this. I probably would not have taken it. But I'm sure a lot of people did. And that was a massive move from the close of market yesterday, 24,400 to 25, almost 400, right? So almost 1,000 points. So that's why we're having difficulty right now. I would consider this now, when I walk away in a little bit, I would consider this an impulse move down, right? So I would put my fib right here, and I would draw it to where it starts buying again. Let's pretend that it is this candle right here. Then I'd be setting an alert. This is what I'm going to be trading moving forward. I'm also going to be looking for my double bottoms and my kangaroo tails, break and retest. But in futures, this is going to be the main strategy. And I would set an alert. Then you can walk away and do nothing. I already have an alert on MCL.
And you just wait for it to get to the golden zone, and then you're looking for a signal.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What were you saying?
I'm sorry. You're putting your alert at the golden zone, and then are you looking to go short or go long?
I would not go long. The impulse move, let's go back to MNQ. So the impulse move is selling. right? This is, if I go to a 5-minute time frame, I want to see big candles and I want to see some fair value gaps. So what I see in the nearest time frame, I mean, if you back up, then you can do a fib zone from here, right? From where this started to up here. Let's do that first. Right, so, and then let's remove this, too much information there. All right, so the fib zone of the news event, I would start it probably right here, right? I'm going to ignore this wick here. That was just a liquidity grab. And from there to there, right? If with this higher time frame, if we come back down into this area, it would be for a continuation long. Right? That's what I'm looking at. I started here, went back, went up to the highs of where it started reversing and started selling. So I would set an alert over here, right before the 50%. And that's where I start looking at it. Let's remove this one. Delete. There you go. So that's for the impulse move long for a possible reload. And that's what I talked about in SPY and Qs, right? I talked about it where I would not be surprised that we come and get the buyers that were missed. There's a lot of orders down here. There's a lot of massive pension plans and whatever. And according to their rules, they wanted to buy X amount of shares down here. Well, they're not going to buy all the way up here. It's too expensive right now. So they still have their orders down here. Now, on a tighter time frame, I'm going to remove this just because it makes things too, there's too many things to look at. On a tighter time frame, recently we had an impulse move down. So I would start from the top, from the wick over here, and I would bring it down to where we started buying again. Well, we haven't started buying again. I haven't seen it, but let's pretend that the bottom is made right over here, and then we start making new highs, and we break this high here and start moving back up. Then I would put an alert right above the 50, or sorry, right below the 50. Just because I'm doing something else, or, you know, I'm at the beach or whatever. No beach where I am right now, and it's still freezing cold. But just as an example, you can be doing something else, and then you get an alert. Yeah, I'm in Canada. I'm just north of Toronto, and it's been the longest freaking winter. Honestly, in my 56 years I can remember, it's been a very long, difficult winter. Tomorrow, 15 degrees in the forecast. Hopefully. So anyway, you could be doing other things, and that's why I'm getting back into futures. It's just the beauty of being able to look at a pattern, and that's why Avi said it yesterday, that the fib continuation pattern is a really easy hands-off type of pattern. So what I'm waiting for, sorry that my answer is so long, what I'm waiting, if this was the bottom, I would be waiting for it to come down here, come back up to this area, and the continuation would be short. Right? That's what we're looking at. The impulse move is short. We start buying. There's a lot of sellers in this area. So I would be looking at if it came and touched over here, that's where I would zoom into the 2. I would be looking at a rejection of this area. So a wick into the area, possibly even taking out stops that are right above this area here. Let's zoom in so that it's right. So if we started making our way back up here and we wicked into this area, even if it wicked above here and then rejected, and put in like a trendy kangaroo. A trendy kangaroo is a kangaroo tail that is going with the trend. A kangaroo tail is a reversal. A trendy kangaroo is a continuation. So that's what I'd be looking at on the 2-minute, and I'd really want to see selling. So if we have a trendy kangaroo It prints, we make a new low, but be careful because I'm not the only one looking at these patterns. If it breaks that low, sometimes it'll just break it and then poof, take off. And that's what happened on Tesla on Monday, I think. Right? So you have to see that there's actual selling happening. And then the short, and let's just put the short tool. Let's say it happens over here. The short would be, let's say, over here. Aggressive stop would be above the nearest wick. Conservative stop would be around or just above the 61.8. And you look for 3R. And if the 3R is within the range that we've already been in, it's fantastic. If 3R, you need to get down all the way down here, then it's not worth it. So that's what I'm looking at. And then I still have this alert here, but this alert is for a possible long because of this one. Right? So what I'd be looking at if let's say I get in, let's say this actually happens here and I get in short, I would be aiming for my 3R, but my target would really be down here because that's where the buyers are from this run up. Wouldn't it be great if this works out exactly in an hour and I can actually come back tomorrow and say, this is what I was talking about? That would be fantastic. We'll see. We'll see. It's definitely.
Keep them fingers crossed for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to say, hey, that's exactly what I was explaining. But this is what happens over and over and over again. It happens more in the futures market than it does with stocks. It's incredible how the 50% retracement, we use the fib tool over here just because if it makes it above the 61.8 and closes above here, then you can pretty much think that, okay, we're buying. But if it goes into the 50%, I think a lot of traders call this the reload because we are shorting and then people are reloading onto their position. They'll take profits, and then if it rejects the 50%, they'll reload, as in they'll short again. They'll add to their short positions. And a lot of people will probably be looking at this level over here because I'll put it back for the 15. Here we go. Let's put this one back. So this was the impulse move higher on news. And that's where we started selling, right over there. So we've got two. This is the long, possible for it to come back to this area to continue to reload. So all the buyers from here, a lot of them are in long term. They're hoping, they're crossing their fingers that this peace deal holds. And if it's the case, then the sky's the limit. Right? So they might see that, okay, we're pulling back and then boom, we wick into here. And then a lot of people start buying here. And then this could be a continuation long. So there's two patterns here. There's a higher time frame and a shorter time frame. I'll take this one off. I've got my alert set over here. This bottom here might have to be moved after I walk away here. I'll check it back a little bit later. But for now, it is the low of this wick. But we haven't started buying yet. Right? We have not started, actually, the move. I'm looking at the SPY puts. They're moving a bit. The SPY puts are moving a bit right now. So we might be seeing some selling here. Let's go. Let's make this a little bit bigger. All right. So we're having trouble getting up above this area here. And look at how the high of this candle here was 675.23. 675.27. We just wicked up probably. So a lot of people are saying, okay, we're making new highs. And then it just poof, just rejected from there. So we've trapped some buyers right above here.
Yep,
But
that was me yesterday. I got trapped.
yeah,
Or the day before. So I'm
that
starting to see
Tesla
more
trade,
of
I
this Wiki
remember
action.
we were talking about it live. And yeah, you have to, it's hard to wait. I mean, the algos will give you a punch and it's like, okay, that's my entry. But oftentimes you have to wait to see. What I like to do here, let's explain this. Hopefully this is beneficial for some people. Let's say I'm waiting to break down below 673.97. Right? So let's say it happens. If I see 693, 96, 95 print, I'm still not getting in. I want to see a flush. I want to see that selling is actually really, really happening. And if it just punches down, then I want to see it on a micro level. I want to see a retest of the level. So I want to see it. If it doesn't happen quickly, then I want to see it come down and then retest and hold the 670, whatever it was, 673.97. So on a micro level, I want to see that 673.97 is actual resistance, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. So if it breaks down, but sometimes, especially if you've got the SPY puts or whatever, if you've got a tool, you can see it in the options market. That's why I want the options chain on my TradingView, because I've grown accustomed to watching it. And oftentimes you'll see the move happening seconds or a fraction of a second quicker, because oftentimes the move happens in options before the underlying. But for now, with 8 minutes left before I cut out, I'm not seeing much happening, except for Amazon. I've got an alert up here. Let's look at Amazon on TradingView. And I'll show you why I put an alert up there. Actually, there you go. I put the fibs on there already. So the impulse move, let's go to maybe even a 5 minute. So the impulse move, let's redraw. The impulse move was selling. Right? So you start from the top, and then where did we start buying? Well, we started buying again right around here. So what I want to see is what happens if and when we retouch this area. So I'll set an alert on Amazon right around there. I already have an alert on DOS, but after 10:30, I will likely not be in front of my computer. Actually, I've got to take off at 11 today, unfortunately. So maybe this will be one of them that I'll take on my phone. But this is what I'd be looking at, right? The impulse move is selling. I don't love it because there was no fair value gap put in. There was a small one put in right in that zone on the 2 minute. Right, you can see that fair value gap right there. Fair value gaps are awesome. They just show that actually, for the time being, you know, from here to here, the sellers were in control. Right, we actually skipped a level. That's all it means. And then we started buying. So what happens even if we come take out 223.12? If we come back in here and we see it wick into this area and then you see selling, then that's a short. So, and I actually have rules written down for this. Like I'm very meticulous when it comes to that. Sometimes there's too many rules, and I have been adjusting some of them, especially for the kangaroo tail trade book. But it's just, you know, what is likely to happen, as in more than 50.1%. What is more likely to happen than not? And then you put on your trade, right? You risk 1 to make a minimum of 3. That's it. That's it. And you avoid FOMO. You avoid, you know, if your heart rate goes up, then your size is too big. That's something I've learned over the years. And I'll
get an oximeter.
What's that?
Get an ox in there and stick it on your
Oh
finger.
yeah. I do have an Apple Watch. I should see if it's possible to have it alert me. But I can tell. I can tell.
Yeah.
I can doing this long enough that I can tell. And I often actually it happened in CL yesterday. Remember that trade that I explained earlier that I got in? It wicked down, almost made it to my 3R target, and then came right back up. And I felt it, and it was like, you know what? I'm out. I'm out. I'll take the 1.5R. The only reason it's not because it was size, it's paper trading, really, but it's because it's a combine, and you only have a certain amount of drawdown that you can handle, and it's new. Yeah, so my heart rate went up a little bit seeing that. Oh, you know, it's going. And then the thing with a combine, the thing with Top Step is if it flushes, you have to get out of your position before it gets to 4, 5, 6R, because the trade will be negated. They won't count it if it goes too much in your favor. So that's another thing that's on the psychology. You don't want it to have a massive move because then it won't count. So anyway, the whole prop firm thing is something that I'm doing just to get reacquainted to futures. It's not going to last a long time because I will be trading my own account where there are no limits, right? Yeah. If it goes in my direction, 12, 13, 15, 20R, then I'm in. It's fantastic. I'm going to leave it on. Anyhow, hopefully some of you have gotten into positions. It's just going sideways right now. Surprising, with a 90 and 110% R vol. There is a lot of volume being traded, but it's just not going anywhere. There was that Tesla retest of where we started buying from yesterday. Right? It's all this, well, I shouldn't say all this buying, but there was buying, moving price up, but with no volume. Right? This is all after hours. Right around this area will be very interesting. So what I'd be looking at here, even though it came down, this is sorry, this is where we were buying yesterday, right? We came down, found some buyers, then we chopped around this area. So what I would be looking at in this area is a kangaroo tail setup. So I want to see it come and wick down and then see some buying. And then this I would absolutely consider as a long. But it would have to meet my requirements, right? But this is what I was talking about in pre-market, that I would not be surprised to see the missed buyers. There's a lot of orders down here. Now, does it happen that it actually starts moving the market and we start seeing some buying? I don't know. Might not happen today. Could happen tomorrow or another day. And I don't know if there's news on Tesla. I mean, Elon's posting stuff every day, so you never know. This is another one that is very news driven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Jill, I'm just curious. Could you bring up your 5-minute chart on INTC? Are you seeing bad prints like I am?
In DOS?
Yeah.
No. Not in DOS. Let me bring it up on TradingView. I won't take it off of here. I'll what a Meta. I always get rid of Meta because I rarely trade Meta. INTC 5-minute. Nope.
Wow.
No. What are you seeing? Just some.
I'll show you. This is weird. This happens sometimes. Let's see. I'll do the screen. I got these prints here.
Oh yeah! Wow.
No, it just makes it really screwy. You know, I can't properly read the candlesticks.
Yeah.
And I've noticed I use Thinkorswim, and sometimes I've noticed this on Thinkorswim, and
Oh, I've
Yeah.
noticed it on DOS. I've noticed it on TradingView as well. And it doesn't happen often, but I'm always curious to know if you had a position there and your stop was at, I can't see really.
Here somewhere.
Yeah, if your stop was at, would you have been taken out?
I think
Or
it's so momentary. It like I've seen it before where the candlestick has a bad print, but I look at the level 2 and you can see the timing scales on the right, and it is what it is. So I don't know. It's very strange.
it might have been one share traded at that price. One market maker putting in, something for one share or 10 shares or whatever, and it needs to print. But then again, you would assume that you'd see it depending on the market maker. Maybe you're seeing a market maker that I don't have on DOS or TradingView.
Yeah.